Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. And happy to be with you today. And, some of you guys already know that when I work, I deliver food. And one thing I do when I deliver food is that I listen to stuff on, oh, hey, here's a friend. Why I have also left Christianity and Judaism and atheism, freedom of religion, my friend. Carlo, I hope you're watching. Freedom of religion, my friend. You know what? America is the land of freedom of religion. But I just want to say, I don't think that Islam teaches freedom of religion. Okay, you guys, this is a cousin of mine, Carlo. Very happy that you're here, Carlo. But I don't believe Islam believes in freedom of religion. Because Muhammad said, Carlo, about me, because I was a Muslim and I'm a Christian now, Muhammad said I'm supposed to be killed. And I'm sure you know, well, I'm not sure. If you lived in the Middle East, you'll know. But Muhammad said, Men baddal dinu fa uqtilu. Whoever changes his Islamic religion, kill him. And so you say that it's freedom of, you guys, because the question on my Facebook was, why have 1/4 of the Muslims in America left Islam? And so this is what my cousin said. Why have they also left Christianity, Judaism, and atheism? Freedom of religion, my friend. People live, and so, but, my only question is freedom of religion, but I don't believe Islam has freedom of religion. Muhammad said, "Man baddal dinu fa uqtilu." There's a death penalty on my life. There's a death penalty on my life, Carlo. I'm supposed to be killed because Muhammad said, "Man baddal dinu fa uqtilu." Whoever changes religion, kill him. So yes, you want freedom of religion. Everybody can be what they want. But why are people leaving Islam? There's this huge, it's called a tsunami of apostasy, where Muslims are leaving Islam. And why is that? Specifically, like in Iran, they did a survey of over like 33,000 people. I mean, it is a very representative sample. Over half of them have left Islam. That, you can say over half of the people in Iran have left Islam. In Africa alone, according to Al Jazeera, 6 million Muslims a year leave Islam. 6 million Muslims a year. That's like every hour, it's like 1,000 Muslims leave. Why are they leaving like this? Why is there this tsunami of Islam, of apostasy? People leaving Islam. So anyway, I appreciate you commenting. I appreciate you being here. And if you'd like to come on, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put because Carlo is from my village and I know his relatives. I love his relatives. I'm not sure I know Carlo, but I love his relatives. They are my relatives. And so, hey, Hussein is the perfect Christian and ex-Muslim delivery. Hey, look at this. Hey, Hussein is the perfect man, a Christian and an ex-Muslim, and he delivers food too. And he cooks food, and he does dishes. So, and he's single. Well, I'm not advertising. So anyway, so, one of the reasons now, as you guys saw the thing I made, Alexander the Great and the tsunami. Well, Alexander the Great in the Quran, and there's very few people that argue with this. All of the ancient scholars and everything agree that Alexander the Great in the Quran is called Dhul Qarnayn, meaning the one with two horns. The one like a ram, an animal with two horns. And, in the Quran, he's called Dhul Qarnayn. Well, there's two stories with Alexander the Great. And these two stories are causing lots of Muslims to leave Islam. These two stories about Alexander the Great in the Quran are causing lots of Muslims to leave Islam. And so what I want to do right now is I want to play for you. Now, guys, one of the things when I drive and I'm delivering food, I listen. The other day I was listening to Hatun Tash, and she was talking about this particular subject about, yes, he was taught by Aristotle. He was taught, excuse me, anyway, Hatun Tash was talking about, you know, what Yasser Qadi was saying. And Yasser Qadi was talking about this subject of, because there's this story. It's in the Quran. It's in the Quran twice. It's about Juj or Yajuj. In English, it's Gog and Magog. You know the story, you know, Muhammad heard the Jews talking about Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog is in the Bible several times. The first time you see Gog and Magog is it's the son of Japheth. The son of Japheth. God bless you. The son of Japheth, Noah's grandson. One of Noah's grandsons was Gog. Okay, Magog was Magog. So we have it all the way back in the Torah. We have it in Genesis chapter, I believe it's chapter 10, which is called the Table of Nations, which is where you get Noah, his 3 sons, and then all of their descendants. Chapter 10, it's one of the most phenomenal, accurate, historical documents you'll ever find. The Table of Nations, because it tells you about these different nations and tells you where they went. This was written, you guys, by Moses, 3,500 years ago. And it is one of the most accurate, amazingly accurate documents in all of history. I mean, in terms of geography, demography, it is just a phenomenal document. Genesis chapter 10, the Table of Nations. And so anyway, Yajuj, Majuj, right? And so Muhammad heard the Jews talk, maybe he heard the Christians talk about, but anyway, the first time it's mentioned is with Noah in Genesis chapter 10, because it was his grandson, the son of Japheth. Japheth is the father of the Gentiles. Well, then you come to, or more like Europeans, Indo-Europeans, Asian. Then the next time you hear about Gog and Magog is in Ezekiel 38 and 39. Now, you guys, if you're interested in that, this is about the end times, talking about Gog and Magog attacking Israel. And they're coming with Persia, which is Iran, with Libya, with several other countries, including Ethiopia. Ethiopia, I believe, is Sudan and Somalia, and it's a whole group of nations that's coming to attack Israel. And in them is Gog and Magog. And God is very specific about Gog and Magog. It talks about them being from the north. And we have a friend here, Elmir. I'm not sure who this is, but hello, Elmir.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, good. How about you, brother? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. No, I'm a brother to you, brother.
Oh, okay. Welcome. So you're a Christian?
Yes, I'm a Christian.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Today I'm a Christian. I used to be Muslim before.
you used to be a Muslim?
Yes. Yes, brother.
Were you raised a Muslim?
Of course.
Where are you from originally?
Someone called Bukhari.
What is it?
Someone called Al-Bukhari.
Al-Bukhari?
At-Tirmizi. Yeah, At-Tirmizi.
Yes.
From their country.
Now I believe. Oh, they're from Persia, right? From Iran.
No. Uzbekistan.
What is it?
Uzbekistan. Bukhara.
Wow.
Uzbekistan. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So,
Yeah.
how did you come to the Lord?
It's a long story, brother. One day I will, I want to share, hopefully, if you don't mind, if I start now, like it just takes longer time. I don't want to disturb, your show. Um,
Okay,
yeah,
but
you just brought up a really nice topic, which is, you're so you're so right about Alexander the Great. Having two horns. We grew up, from our childhood reading these books, reading the stories about the two horns, and we knew exactly who it was, right? Alexander the Great. Today, they reject that because it just shows how Quran is fake, and the two horns actually came about the reason why it was called two horns. I mean, he literally didn't have two horns because he was controlling the east and the west. That's why they called him two horns. The Alexander Iskandar Zulkarnain. Not
yeah,
because he had like literal, horns. It was a title given to him it was an honorary title, But
yes,
probably Muhammad and the, Arabs and at that time, misunderstood that, and they thought, oh, he must have literally have two horns, and they put it into the stories. Even it's amazing, yeah.
yeah. Well, it's clear that even there were other groups that used to, I mean, other peoples and nations, and you look and you can find historically that they referred to Alexander as
Yes,
the one with two horns, and to
yeah,
where they cannot come right now in the Quran. I mean, the Muslims now cannot come and say, "Oh, it doesn't mean Alexander the Great." And I heard Yasser Qadi. He's saying, "Well, maybe it's Darius, and maybe it's this guy, maybe it's
Cyrus, yeah, yeah,
because it's a very for one, it says that he worshipped Allah. He was a Muslim,
yes,
and that he was a righteous man who did good things. Well,
yes.
according to actual
History,
history, he called himself the son of Zeus, who was the Greek,
exactly.
And then another thing, he was a very unrighteous man. He was
Oh
very
yeah,
he was a pagan. He worshipped idols. And so for
yeah.
them to say that he was this righteous hero, it's almost humorous. So
It is very humorous. Yeah, let's say even it's Cyrus or Darius, right?
yeah,
Both of them were from the Zoroastrianism, like they were Zardusht, They
oh,
worshipped those two kings, Darius and Cyrus. They actually worshipped fire, Ahura Mazda. And they could not also be the Zulkarnain because, they did not believe in Abrahamic religion. Alexander the Great, I mean, it's obvious, from the history, from the writings, there's too many writings about his life, and just shows that um, he was a pagan, right? And he did some other stuff, very immoral stuff as well. So, um, yeah, just because at that time it was popular about him, the stories were popular about him because he controlled the east and west. Just somehow he became a prophet of Allah.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So anyway, the two stories that I'm going to play a video right now. I'm going to play a
Go
video
ahead.
right now by Yasser Qadi, in which he says the story that we're talking about today about Gog and Magog, that this has caused many Muslims to leave Islam. He says he knows Muslims who have left Islam because of this story, because it is such a ridiculous story about, and just before I get there, I just want to read. This is somebody sent this to me, and I just want to read this. It says, "Meshni لأنك إنسان وكنت Muslim أحترمك." He said, this friend Hani Zin El Din, he says, "Meshni was my last name. Because you are a human and you were a Muslim, I respect you. أقول لقد I watched the video of you when you were arguing with Muslims in the park. وأشاهد ذلك الفيديو ومبادلتك الآراء, and when you were sharing different opinions and thoughts, يجد إنك تتخبط وإنك لا تعني ما تقول." He says, it looks like you just are talking like out of in the air, just, punching in the air, and that you do not mean what you say about the Christian religion that you call people to. وأجزم إن داخلك كل الإسلام ولكنك تظاهر بالمسيحية. أسأل الله لك ولي لجميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات إن يدرنا إليه والرد جميلا أمين يا رب العالمين. Okay, Hanny, thank you for your nice words, because you did say some nice things, but he's saying that deep down in my heart, that I really am a Muslim and stuff like that. He says, because he says, it looks like I don't believe what I'm saying when I'm talking about Christianity.
No, of course, brother. Yeah, you are a secret Muslim, who is being influenced, and that deep in your heart, you're a Muslim still. You just cannot accept, because you're getting somehow help from somebody else. I grew up, hearing all this stories, reading all these stories about the popes, about the priests, like they secretly believed in Islam, and like somehow it's really funny, how they accuse of Christians. When you accept Christ, I mean, you are redeemed by Him. Nobody can snatch you away from His hand. We belong to Him. And yes.
Great. You know what? I'm going to just play the video that he's talking about, because there was a video where I was arguing with some guys. I don't know if you've heard about Sheikh Uthman. He's the one that David Wood has been going to visit. David Wood.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of videos. And I went to that park. And when I went to the park, I got into like an argument with these guys. And not an argument, just, we were just talking and stuff. And anyway, I just want to show what he's talking about. So anybody who hasn't seen it, they can see it. So just give me 1 second here. I want to, let me just share this video right here. And 1 second. I haven't even started with my subject yet today. Okay, here.
Famous Qur'ans are Hafs and Warsh. You have and Warsh. They're different Qur'ans. I'm not going to continue, but I want to tell you something, because your understanding of the Qur'ans are different. There's a verse in the Qur'an, okay, and it says about the Malaika, about the angels. Malaika is the angels. Okay? Hey, that's not good. Go bring the verse. Read it. You have a phone, right? You pride yourself in Arabic, but you can't read the Quran without the harakat. Okay, but Khalini finish. Your initial argument is flawed, so whatever comes after it is going to be flawed. I'm just saying. Bas bid'illah. Go bring it. Can you let me finish with it? My life to go bring the ayah. Okay, it says about the angels. Okay, it says about the angels. What it says. Show us what it says. Humma abad Ar-Rahman. Talking about the angels. Abad Ar-Rahman. You don't even know Arabic.
Okay. I just wanted to show a little bit, just to show that these guys, what was funny about these guys is that, they tell me, you don't speak Arabic and you can't read the harakat, and none of them were Arabs, they were all from India and stuff, and but none of them spoke Arabic either, and so they were making fun of my Arabic. So, but
you guys, like Steve, you CP, anybody like Al Fadi, you guys are a true a blessing to us, because I know how to read Arabic. I've taken tajweed and all that, but I don't speak Arabic. A lot of times when they are losing their arguments, because you can quote like from the translations, they attack immediately. Oh, you don't know Arabic. As if Islam is only Arabic. And then I tell like I'm reading from this translation, and they say, "Oh, like the translation." I said, "Are you trying to blame? Like are you trying to accuse the translator who is a Muslim too? You know?"
You know what? I've got videos. I gotta do a compilation where I put them all together because all of them do it. Ahmed Didat used to do this, because it's intimidate. You intimidate people by telling them because you don't know the Arabic, you don't know the Arabic, you don't know the Arabic language. I'm trying to develop my Zakir Naik imitation, but I don't do it as good as Adam does. But the
Brother,
hey, you're better than me. Yesterday, I got a bunch of negative comments saying, "Dude, don't quit your day job. Keep delivering food." No. But
that's funny.
the thing is that Ahmed Didat, whenever he got to a place where it doesn't make sense, he said the Arabic language because in the Arabic, and then Zakir Naik. The thing about Zakir Naik is, and I'm going to talk about the subject that he talks about. He says when the sun sets into a muddy pool. He talks about that, and he says there is wajada, and wajada means appeared. That's a lie. It doesn't mean that. Wajada means he found. He found the sun setting into a muddy pool. But Zakir Naik, in the Arabic language, wajada means it appeared to be setting. It doesn't. That's not what it means. And so anyway, but they always do this. And even Uthman, when he's with David Wood, he said, "Oh, you don't speak Arabic, you don't." And then he tries to speak Arabic, So they always use that to intimidate people, that I know Arabic, I know the Arabic language. So
Yeah. The Sahih Hadith from Bukhari, it just shows and exposes that lie because there was no water in front of Abu Zar and Muhammad when they were riding on a donkey, right? And they couldn't. It was just plain desert, and he was telling this story, and I always tell them, hey, there was no when if you read the Hadith, there is no water or anything like that, so you cannot use that argument. Muhammad is telling his true opinion about where the sun sets. And after that, they lose it. I was like, oh, maybe still it's like we don't know what it truly means. I said exactly.
That's a good argument. I've got to use that because that thing is in there. It's in the Quran, and then it's also in the Hadith. And in the Hadith, Muhammad himself is saying that it sets into a muddy pool.
Oh yeah. They were riding a donkey in a desert, and then and he says, where does the sun set? And Abu Zar, of course, his favorite, Allah and his apostle only knows.
Well, if that's what he knows, then God, it tells you about the rest of the things he claimed to know. But anyway, I want to go ahead and play this video with Yasser Qadi, and so let's just listen to him because we're talking now about. Okay, let me just one more time real quick. I was talking about Juj and Majuj, Gog and Magog. It comes from the Bible. It was grandson of Noah. It's in Ezekiel 38 and 39. They're going to attack Israel in the end times. And most people believe that Magog is Russia and Gog is the leader of Russia. And then you find it again in the book of Revelation at the very end in 21, after Satan is imprisoned for 1,000 years in the bottomless pit. He's released for a short time. He goes to the north, to the four corners of the earth, and deceives the people, and he brings Gog and Magog. Again, Gog and Magog come to attack. And then the judgment, the final judgment. So you find it in three separate places in the Bible, in Genesis, in Ezekiel, and in Revelation. So it was, and it is a place, it says it's a place to the uppermost north, which most people translate to be Russia. And also the Greek historian Herodotus, he's called the father of history. He said that the Gog and Magog were the Scythians. The Scythians were the Russians who were
believe it or not, I'm the the Central Asia and the Ukraine was part of that Magog.
Oh,
I consider myself the generation of Scythians.
oh,
Um,
really?
yeah. So Gog is actually not part of Russia. It's actually Syria, Turkey. These countries are considered Gog. But Magog is, like you said, it's upper, north, where you consider the Central Asia, even Afghanistan, and all the way up to Russia, part of Ukraine is considered the land of the Scythian, and yeah.
All right. Well, let's just look at the verses in the Quran that talk about this because
Yes, go ahead, brother. Yes.
they're very funny. But let's see this. It says, okay, this is one of the passages. It's in the Quran 2 times, you guys, and it says in chapter 2196, and says, until Yajuj and Majuj, Gog and Magog, are let loose from the barrier, and they swoop down every mound. And so what they're saying there, the belief is, and I'm going to let Yasser Qadi, he's going to say this, but let me just say it real quickly for you, is that the belief is that there was this people called Juj and Majuj, Gog and Magog. They're very evil. They did very evil things. Alexander the Great, Dul Qarnayn, went and he met these people who were saying, help us, Alexander the Great, build something to keep them from attacking us. And so Alexander the Great built this huge wall, and this, you can read this in the Quran. Let's see if we can find it right here. Okay. This is what Dul Qarnayn said. He said, bring me ingots of iron. They proceeded accordingly until they leveled up the gap between the two, because there was 2 mountains. And so they built this wall between the mountains. Okay, and so he got the iron, and then he said, blow. They complied until he made it like a fire and molten copper, and I will pour this upon. So, he made this iron wall, and he poured copper on top of it. And this is between 2 mountains, and it's this huge, huge wall, and it was impenetrable, so that they, Yajuj and Majuj, were not able to climb it, nor were they able to make a hole in it. And on that day, the day that Juj and Majuj will come out, shall leave them to surge like waves, one upon the other, and trumpets will be blown, and we shall collect them, all creatures together. So anyway, what it's saying is that Alexander the Great built this humongous wall, okay, between 2 mountains, and behind it are these peoples called Juj and Majuj, Gog and Magog. Now, when you go into the Hadith, how many of these people are there? There are gazillions, billions of them. There's billions of these people behind this wall somewhere on planet Earth. They're not able to get out, and they're still alive because they're supposed to be around they were in the time of Alexander the Great, and they're going to be around in the time of the Judgment Day. So they're still around. And so where is this great, great wall? And there are people who think it's China, but there's many reasons why that's not the case. And this wall has been perfect. I mean, it was iron, and then it had copper poured on it, and it's been there. And according to the Hadith, it's still there in the same condition, perfect. And the people are clawing, trying to get out of it. And so, this is the story, you guys. Let's listen to, would you like to say something about that, Elmir, before we listen to the video?
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. And interestingly, Herodotus talks about the Magog, right? The you already mentioned, and the Scythians and all that. The Turks and the Ukrainians were considered the Scythians, right? So, if they were the Magog, guess what Muhammad said about the Turks. He said, until the end times, until Muslims, will fight the Turks and they will kill them, the hereafter will not come. The end day will not come. And Muhammad thought that Turks will never become a Muslim. I kind of, connect that because, right now, all the Turkic world, like 28, like almost 30, like different nations of Turkic world is a Muslim, every single one of them. And so if Hirada thought that Magog was that land, and Muhammad prophesied kind of, like about the Turks, and he said, really not really bad things about the Turks, by the way. Made fun of their faces, made fun of their noses, made fun of their clothes, and all of that. And supposedly Muslims are gonna fight the Turks, and after that, the end time will come. And I kind of connect that, brother. So Magog, um, according to the Islam, I think it was meant to be Turks and the Ukrainians and that part of the world. But yeah, go ahead, brother. I just wanted to add that.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's go ahead and listen to what Yasser Qadi says, because what Yasser Qadi says is precious. It's so precious. So anyway, and again, I just want to give credit to Hatun Tash because she's the one who did this, and I'm just kind of piggybacking on what she says, but I'm saying it a little bit differently because I'm focusing on Alexander the Great, because he's the one who's leading a lot of Muslims out of Islam. A lot of Muslims are leaving Islam because of the two stories. There's two stories about Alexander the Great that are so bizarre that Muslims, let's listen to Yasser Qadi. Okay.
Caused many of our youth the most problematic of the signs of Judgment Day. And it has caused many of our youth to question, to doubt. I myself have met people that have actually left Islam because of these types of tales. And we have to be on.
Okay, you guys, did you hear what he said? You know what I just told you about this building, this wall, and there's being zillions of people behind there? He called it a tale. A tale. It's a khararif. And this guy, he's like the #1 sheikh that, was a Princeton graduate.
Honest and frank and not pretend as if this doesn't exist. Perhaps some of you are not accustomed to hearing people speak like this, but
well, I'm going back because I want you to hear it.
Because of these types of tales. And we have to be and Ma'juj. And the issue of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is actually, for our modern times, I would say, one of the most, if not the most problematic of the signs of Judgment Day. And it has caused many of our youth to question, to doubt. I myself have met people that have actually left Islam because of these types of tales.
You hear that? People have left Islam because of these tales.
And we have to be honest and frank and not pretend as if this doesn't exist. Perhaps some of you are not accustomed to hearing people speak like this, but my philosophy is different. We are dealing with the crisis of people leaving our faith, our own children, our own young men and women. And of the reasons why is that we are not answering some of these issues that they bring, and we dismiss them. And I myself have discussed many of these issues with these types of people. And one of them, not the only one, but one of them is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So we have to be very clear and frank and think critically, even as we look at our tradition.
He says you want to be clear and frank. Dude, it's not going to be clear and it's not going to be frank. Just wait till he gets to the end.
So let us begin from the beginning. Who are Ya'juj and Ma'juj? And what does the Quran and Sunnah say about them? The issue of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is something that doesn't just occur in the Hadith. It is explicit in the Quran.
See, this is where you guys, a lot of Muslims are Quran only. Well, it's in the Quran. And it's mentioned, he only says twice, but it's in two places. But the words Juj and Majuj are mentioned more than twice.
So Allah Azza wa Jal mentions Ya'juj and Ma'juj in the Quran. Therefore, it's pretty clear that this is not something that you can say, oh, it's only found in one hadith. No, it is found in many hadith, but even more importantly, it is found in the Quran itself. Where in the Quran? In two specific verses, only two. Only twice in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Ya'juj and Ma'juj. The first of them is Surah Al-Kahf. And at the very end of Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the issue of Dhul Qarnayn, Jazakallah khair. The story of Dhul Qarnayn. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنْ ذِي الْقَرْنَيْنِ. Now, this is an entire lecture, an entire tafsir to Qarnayn and Dhul Qarnayn. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we gave him power in this world, and we allowed him a path everywhere. And he went to the easternmost, he went to the westernmost. There are stories mentioned in the Quran about Dhul Qarnayn. He was a just king. He thanked Allah subhanahu.
Okay, guys, I'm going to skip over this thing about Dhul Qarnayn just because we talked about it already. I think he's trying to weasel his way out of the fact that all the scholars say that he was, or almost all the scholars say that he was Alexander the Great. And so he can't, but he's trying to get out of that. But so I'm going to just fast forward that part. So
Manual power. I know what to do. With this other nation against Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So, you know, these people are really bad, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. I'll help you. What do I need from you? فَأَعِنُونِي بِقُوَّةٍ أَجْعَلْ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُمْ رَجَمًا. I need your strength. I need manual power. I know what to do. I have the brains for it, but I need the bronze. I need the people. So Allah Azza wa Jal then mentions that they took big bellows of furnace and iron and copper, and they made a special type of barrier, and they put these people, they used these bellows of the furnaces on a massive scale, and they made an iron barrier that Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, فَمَسْطَاعُوا أَنْ يَظْهَرُوهُ وَمَسْتَطَاعُوا لَهُ نَقْبًا. Neither could they climb over the wall, nor could they come underneath it, nor could they bore a hole between it. So it is an effective barrier. قَالَ هَذَا رَحْمَةٌ مِّن رَبِّي. Dhul Qarnayn, when he saw what he had done, he said, this is from Allah. Allah has blessed me. Allah has given me this. It's not from me. It is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then either Dhul Qarnayn or Allah is speaking. We don't know which one. فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ رَبِّي. Most likely it is Dhul Qarnayn or an angel or somebody is saying this. But this wall is temporary. When the command of Allah comes, then this wall will be of no use. It will be gone. وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ. And on that day, these groups will be like waves, just intermixing amongst one another, and the trumpet will be blown. So this is the first mention of Dhul Qarnayn, and it deals with the wall, the first mention of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and it deals with the wall that was built by Dhul Qarnayn. The next
friend named Elmir. Okay, guys, I just want you guys to see that, to see what Yasser Qadhi said about that. So what happened is that Alexander the Great comes, there's all these people, and these people say, hey, this is dangerous, those people hate us and everything, so can you make us, protect us? And then Alexander the Great builds this enormous wall between two mountains, and it's iron, and then they put copper on top of it. And this wall succeeded in keeping the people of Juj and Majuj on the other side. And so they've been behind there for thousands of years. And I'm going to show you. But I have a special guest who just arrived. Yeah, see if you can guess who my guest is. Come here. Come here.
Show myself.
Show yourself so everybody sees. Hey, the two.
Amigos.
We got Sam Shimon here, so
Oily head. What's up, people? What's going on? You can go live on my channel after this if you want.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Sure. We're gonna go, you guys, we're gonna be done here, and then we're gonna go live on Sam's channel.
So I'll go set it up on my computer.
Well, can you help us a little bit? Because I just
can they hear me from there? Do you see my face? It's up to you.
You know what? They do. Unfortunately, the internet is better here, and so
Let me sit right here. Yeah, sit right here.
No, just stay standing. Sam Shimon. Hey, by the way, you guys, for those of you who don't know, we've got two dinosaurs here. I'm the Tyrannosaurus and Sam is the Brontosaurus. So anyway, I
It
just.
must be cold, huh? You got your heat on.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
That is not a heat. That's a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, guys.
Elmir, I was talking.
Oh, Elmir.
He is, right?
You know Elmir?
Oh yeah, he's used to be a Muslim. He's a Christian.
Yeah. Where is it? Where did he go?
He's right there. He says, "I lost your StreamYard."
Oh, come back in.
Send him the link.
Oh, send you the link. Okay. I had one of my cousins come in.
Oh, what happened? There you go.
He actually, because my thing said, why have 1/4 of the Muslims in America left Islam? And he said, because of freedom of religion. And
Okay.
I said, fine, but the only problem is I don't got freedom of religion. I got a death sentence over my head, you know. So anyway, you guys, we're blessed to have with us our brother Sam Shimon today. So we're talking about Juj and Majuj.
Yeah.
Actually, we're talking about Alexander the Great.
Yeah. Iskandar Jadid.
Yeah, that he is one of the ones leading the tsunami because there's two stories about him, and let me just play it for you.
He actually, in this lecture, got himself in trouble.
Yes.
Because he likens them to zombies.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what got him in trouble.
Hi, Elmir.
Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh Shamoun.
That's right. Alaikum salam.
I'm kidding, brother. How are you? Good to see you.
Good seeing you, friend. What's happening?
Yeah. Still waiting for you to come to Texas.
Lord willing, if they don't close you down, lock you down, I'll be there soon because I think they're planning a lockdown again.
I don't think Texas is gonna do that, but yeah.
I hope not. I should have you come on too, and we're going live.
We're going to go live after this, so if you're still around,
We'll open up live Q&A with Elmir, you, and me.
Okay, sounds great.
Sounds good, brother.
You know what? Since we're going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and go through this kind of fast. And
you want me to set it up as in?
Okay, all right. And if you want to say something about what we're talking about.
Yes, brother. Can I say something like really quickly? I'm not going to take a lot of your time. You know Dabbatul Ars? Do you know anything about the Dabbatul Ars? Another funny story from Islam? Looks like, Yajuj Majuj.
No.
Have you heard about Dabbatul Ars? So supposedly at the same time when Yajuj Majuj comes out, there will be creatures called Dabbatul Ars. Yeah, Ars means earth, and the Dabbatul, that it's the name of the creature. So that creature goes around saying, "Oh, the end time has come. People, wake up!" So they will run around. They're round creatures all over the world. They only thing they were created to do is like they go around and tell like the earth. The end time has come. It's really funny story. You should look it up, brother.
Sam just told me about a verse 2780. Oh,
2782. That's the verse.
Okay.
The beast from the earth.
It says, "And when the word befalls them, we will bring forth for them a creature from the earth, speaking to them, saying that the people were our verses not certain." So, of our certains, they were of our. Let me read another version. That one doesn't make sense. "And when the word is fulfilled concerning them, we shall bring forth a beast of the earth to speak unto them, because mankind had not faith in our revelations." So, this is from Surah An-Naml. Naml is ants, the Surah of the ants. So I don't know if that might be the creature,
2782, you read?
Is that what you told me, right? Yeah.
82,
Yeah.
What's coming out of the earth?
Yes, coming out of the earth. So.
And what's the word?
Surah An-Naml is that's what it's called, Surah An-Naml, which is Surah of the ants. Oh, in Arabic or in English?
In English.
Okay, in English it says, "And when the word is fulfilled concerning them, we shall bring forth a beast of the earth."
That's the one, the beast.
The beast. Okay. Dabba. Oh, I see. Dabba min al-ard. Okay, that's what you're saying. Yeah, the beast of the earth. Okay. تكلمهم إن الناس كانوا إباية إن لا Yokanun. Whatever. So, yeah. Well, let's go. Oh, dude, shoot! I just closed. I closed my. I just closed the video. Just take me a second here to open it again. I'm not. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. I closed the Yasser Qadi video. There's just a couple of other things I wanted to show from the Yasser Qadi video. And I'm just like, dude, are you for real, man? And he got into a lot of trouble. I saw some of the reactions to what he said, and he got into quite a bit of trouble for this. And so, let's go ahead and put this on here. Okay, the other place I wanted to talk is 18. Okay, let me go to 18. Where is it? How come it's not? Okay.
Until finally, Ya'juj and Ma'juj will be allowed out. Futihat. They will be allowed out. And
okay, he's talking about what the verse in the Quran says, that there's going to be an opening and the Gog and Magog are going to be let out from behind those walls. And okay, but I want you to hear what he says over here. This is okay.
To Adam, that, O Adam, take the people of Jahannam to Jahannam. And so from every 1,999 will go to Jahannam.
You know, what a wonderful success. Every 1,999 go to hell. So
the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, with those odds, how can we be safe? If every 1,900, how can we be safe? What is the statistical chance of us winning? So the Prophet ﷺ said, I give you good of you, there will be 1,000 of Ya'juj.
Okay, this is where you get into the thing of how many of these people are there. And Yasser Qadi himself says there's gazillion. He said gazillions of these people. So somewhere on planet Earth, there's this huge wall with gazillions of people trying to get over it. And so, and this is in the Quran, you guys.
So this hadith, which is in Bukhari, astronomical. We can pray. That the Prophet ﷺ, that you complain that there is no enemy. Some Sahaba are wanting to have a fight. You're complaining we're not fighting, but you shall continue fighting. There will always be qital once the fitna begins.
We could talk about that because it tells you about the spirit of Islam, but that's not, because that's not our focus. I'm just going to fast forward. I wanted to go to another point in this.
Once Adam had a wet dream and his fluid fell on the earth, and that earth sprouted forth and it became Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So we find this in our folklore, and we find it in respectable medieval books. And that's why, dear Muslims, we do need to be critical of our own tradition.
Dude, did you hear? Okay.
We do need to be. Our ancient scholars were not infallible. We respect them. Wallahi, we do. But they were people of their time and place. And we need to look at it in our time and place and be cognizant of their humanness as we are cognizant of our humanity as well. So this is also found that Ya'juj and Ma'juj are Bani Adam, but not Bani Hawa. Go figure.
So they're the children of Adam, but not the children of Eve.
Wow.
In any case, getting back to Ya'juj and Ma'juj, time is so limited, I have so much to say. Let's see if we can summarize this. To be brutally honest, standard medieval interpretation of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is the...
You know what's funny is he keeps on using this medieval explanation. You know, it's so interesting that he's using that, because it's like he's trying to, distance himself from it, like it's some ancient history, but, I've never heard medieval used in this way. I usually hear medieval as talking about the Middle Ages in Europe. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's.
You find it Ibn Kathir, you find it in the tafsir literature of a Samarqandi and of a Tha'labi, and basically this is the interpretation our classical and middle ages of Islam. Ever since the beginning of writing tafsir, let's say 300-400 hijrah, up until pre-modernity, up until going to CE 1800s or what. If you look at any book of tafsir, any book of history, the notion was the following. Ya'juj and Ma'juj are a bizarre, exotic tribe in the nether regions of the world that have been trapped by Dhul Qarnayn thousands of years ago, and they're still trapped to this day. And quite a few medieval historians have reported that I know of a friend of mine who traveled to the end of the world and he saw with his own eyes the wall of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. We find this in respectable Islamic books.
Respectable Islamic books.
The notion that Ya'juj and Ma'juj are a...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, brother. So I talked a little bit about, how Muhammad made fun of Turks and all that, right? So I want to connect that dot again. This is my theory again. My brother, Shamun, he's an encyclopedia. He may, jump in as well on that. So the people he's quoting, As-Samarkandi, is also a Turk. Bukhari is also a Turk. And a lot of the Zamakhshari was also a Turk, the first, commentator on the Quran. So they were the Turks as well. And Muhammad hated Turks, but the Turks actually developed... I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So they actually developed the Aqidah of Islam, all these people. So Muhammad talking about, Yajuj, Majuj, and I mean the Quran talking about Yajuj, Majuj, and we have a history telling us who the Gog is and who the Magog is, right? We know because, Magog, by Herodot was told that the people of the Scythians, right? So Scythians lived in the Central Asia, Eastern Europe, around that area. So Gog is Syria, Turkey, around that area, right? So now history kind of, tells us the true facts, but Quran tells us what people made after that. Like when people talk about, let's say, they heard about the Steve, how wonderful he is, and Sam Shamoun is how wonderful he is, and after 100 years, people start talking about him. Oh, Steve Husni was so strong, he could lift I don't know, maybe like a whole house or something. Like how Arabs at that time, the part of the Middle East, we used to make all kinds of stories, right? Funny stories, how we were powerful, and people did all these things. And after 100 years, those folklores become very popular. And believe it or not, this is what we get from the Quran. All the widespread popular folklore that people made it up got into the Quran, and now we have this, amazing facts that doesn't support the history. You know what I mean, brother?
Yes, I do. And you know what? I think Yasser Qadhi said that, because what did he say at the beginning? He says many Muslim youth are leaving the Islam because of these tales. He called them tales, like fairy tales, like Cinderella, or Sleeping Beauty, or Robin Hood, and so he called it a tale. He called it a tale. And you know what is funny? What's funny is watching them take these fairy tales and now trying to legitimize them. Because
my goodness,
we don't have time to watch the whole thing. But he actually talks about from satellites. How come from satellites they haven't found this wall?
So I will tell you another historical fact, brother, Steve. So actually, Iskandar Zulkarnain, the story kind of makes sense, with the history. If you think about it, not that, not to that extent the Quran explains, but at the same time, Iskandar Zulkarnain, the Alexander the Great, actually took over Central Asia, which is, used to be Bactria, Sogdiana, and the third country was um, I can't remember the third. So the Bactria and Sogdiana was the very big cities around that time. For the Scythians. So what happened was when the Alexander the Great attacked, the people of that place, they were nomadic and also very powerful warriors. The Great Silk Road. They controlled even later centuries. They controlled as a policeman of the Great Silk Road. So because they were so powerful in fighting, Alexander the Great had so much trouble, and he could not even keep control, like peace in those countries, even after he conquered the land. What he had to do was he actually married a lady from the king from the king's family of the Bactria. Her name was Roxana, I believe, Roxana. So he married to that lady to keep peace in those lands. If he didn't do it, they would fight back and made so much trouble to the Macedonians. So that's why he had to bring 50,000 Greek families to interchange, with the family, so he could keep that land. So if you think about it in the history, because those people they were so warrior, they were so powerful in fighting. The story makes sense because if you look at the Yajuj Majuj, what did they do eventually? They fight, right? So it's just interesting, how the historical facts became a folklore, all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, a lot of time there's a kernel of truth in a lot of even these tales, even the tales. There's a kernel of truth somewhere. There's something, and then they kind of changed it and made it, and so anyway, let's hear what he's got to say now. This gets funny, man.
Living tribe, blocked to this day behind the wall that was built 4,000, 5,000 years ago. That wall.
Okay, so he's talking about Juju Maju. He said that they're to this day, until today, because they're going to be around till Judgment Day, so they're still there, and this wall is still there.
Wall miraculously is still there. People can see on the one side, and on the other side, you have these savages that Allah knows how they're eating, drinking, replicating, whatnot, and they're still there for eons and eons and eons. This is the standard interpretation of our scholars of the tradition, not of the Quran and Sunnah. You understand what I'm going to get at, okay? We don't blame them. In their time frame, the world was unexplored. In their time frame, nobody traveled the world. The reason why Marco Polo became famous and Ibn Battuta became famous was because they traveled half the world. That's it. And they became
my goodness, wow.
Because they did what nobody had done. They simply went from one side of the known civilized world to the other side, and they...
one thing we don't have time to do, but I know
oh my goodness,
this is to actually get the reaction of sheikhs to what he's saying. They are furious. They're saying, no way, you don't talk about the words of Allah. You don't talk about the Quran. You don't talk about
no,
the Hadith.
brother. No, this is actually telling the truth. I mean, he's telling, yeah. Marco Polo, where did he go? Do you know? Marco Polo.
He went to, I know he came from Portugal, right?
Yeah, he came from Portugal. His purpose was to conquer, not to conquer, but to explore the Great Silk Roads, and he ended up going to, first, he started off from China, all India, China, and all that, but eventually visited the cities like Bukhara and Samarkand, and that's how we know a lot of the historical data, because about those cities, because Marco Polo wrote and lived in those cities. It's amazing. I mean, he's telling the historical facts.
Well, you know what? He, for everything, he's doing something that when you look at the way the other sheikhs, and I don't have time to show them, But they were furious with him. How dare you question this? Because this is the standard story. It's just like what he said about the Quran. He said the standard narrative has holes in it. He's talking about the same thing. The narrative is wrong. But these people are as addicted to the narrative as they are to the Quran. They are, I mean, the way they were talking about him, you know, because he tackled this narrative. But the thing is that he's a Princeton graduate. He says, I know science, I know the
Yale University.
Came back. Marco Polo too.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's from Yale. I thought he was from Princeton. I was thinking Princeton. Yeah. So, anyway, this gets
Naples to Italy or to Sicily, wherever he was. Naples or Italy, where was he? And Ibn Battuta to Tunisia, where he was from. So people didn't travel, and folklores and legends were very common, and it was easy to believe these types of things, that there is this nether region of, and you know, if you read, by the way, even Ibn Battuta, by the way, yani, you find bizarre fables.
Bizarre fables, man. He's calling that story that people believe bizarre fables. That's what they were furious.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't know if you've read his book. It's really interesting. Ibn Battuta's book about history. Amazing book.
Yes. What? I'm sorry. What book?
Ibn Battuta. He's the kind of considered the historian of the Arabic and the Middle Eastern world. So I've read part of his books, and it's amazing. He gives a lot of amazing, like yes, exactly.
He said he believes in mermaids and stuff. So let me go ahead and I want to play this. Yeah. See 55:30. Okay, just 1 second here. I want to play. Okay.
Let me finish this up. Another group says, and this is something that I have heard myself, some ulama say, that perhaps Ya'juj and Ma'juj are not on earth but under earth. Why the satellites haven't discovered them. And this, again, I appreciate the salvaging, I really do. But how can human beings survive? No vegetation, no plants with the sun, no oxygen, food, drink, thousands of years. And according to these traditions, we're talking about gazillions of people. What is the answer to this conundrum of Ya'juj and Ma'juj? I will disappoint you by saying there is no clear-cut answer.
You know what? I'm just going to end it right there because everything else he says, he's saying that there is no answer. And he gets into, the fact that maybe they're not really human. They're half human and half something else. And I mean, the poor guy, man, he's trying to take these fables and make, scientific evidence, or make it sound like something that's true. But, I just want to play at the very beginning. Having heard all that, I want to go back to the very beginning and just play this again.
And Ma'juj. And the issue of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is actually, for our modern times, I would say, one of the most, if not the most problematic of the signs of Judgment Day. And it has caused many of our youth to question, to doubt. I myself have met people that have actually left Islam because of these types of tales. And we have to be honest and frank and not pretend as if this doesn't exist. Perhaps.
He said, here he is saying that people have left Islam because of this story, and
yes.
I wanted to talk also about the other big Alexander the Great story, which is the sun setting into a muddy pool, because people left Islam because of that story too. Both of the Alexander the Great stories have been a great, a source of people leaving Islam, and so, but because I have Sam here and he looks like he's tired. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and start with Sam here. So anyway, you guys, and I'm going to come back and we'll come back another time and do, oh, you know what? Maybe tomorrow I'm going to do my video called I Will Believe Islam Means Peace When. So that's going to be tomorrow. I will believe Islam is peace when. And so anyway, Brother Almir, it was great to have you on. I hope you'll come on with me again.
Thank you, brother. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much, man. It was that was a special treat. I wasn't expecting that, and so it was great to have him on. It was also great to have my cousin. I don't know where my cousin went, but brother, cousin, Carlo, you know, did you listen to this stuff? What did you think about this? What did you think about the fact that this is in the Quran? This is in the Hadith. This is what is believed. You know, what do you think about that? And then, you know, think about the fact that Muhammad, you're the one who brought up freedom of religion. You said the reason people are leaving is because of freedom of religion. Well, how come I don't have freedom of religion? How come Muhammad said I'm supposed to be killed? Why did he say "Men baddal dinu fa'uqtilu"? You know, and you know, just think about that. And I hope that you will come on again, and I hope that you will actually come on and debate with me or talk to me at least. You know, I love your uncle. You know, he was a great friend of my dad, Musa Shalmouj. And so, anyway, I love you guys. Thank you guys for being with me. I'm gonna go join Sam now, you guys, on his live stream. So if you guys want to go, just move over there, and remember, Jesus help me, Jesus forgive me, Jesus come into my heart. Jesus help me, Jesus forgive me, Jesus come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني, يسوع سامحني, يسوع ادخل قلبي. He loves you. I love you. Thank you guys for being with me. Have a great night.